On the agenda now is our third panel discussion, for which the topic is Ethical AI and Cybersecurity, Balancing Innovation and Risk. And to participate in this discussion, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Vikas Yadav, Head of IT and Digitisation, Sonalika International Tractors Limited. A distinguished leader with over 21 years of global industrial experience, Mr. Yadav is a driving force in propelling impactful digital transformations within the manufacturing sector. He has masterminded several end-to-end SAP implementations. His expansive domain knowledge spans the auto, chemicals, and oil and gas industries. Please also welcome Mr. Ramsunder Papineni, President Vehere. With 23 years in leadership roles in general management, operations, sales and sales management, Mr. Papineni has been highly successful in building and leading organizations of cross-functional teams. His core strength has been the ability and vision to help multinational organizations set up and scale business operations in India, and has successfully established scalable business operations for FireEye, McAfee and EMC, Documentum Business Unit. Leading from the front, he has been a mentor for future leaders. Please also welcome Mr. Naresh Yadav, Corporate Head IT and SAP Sunbeam Lightweighing Solutions Private Limited. Mr. Yadav has 18 years of in-depth global industrial experience in leading teams and is a transformation and improvement thought leader. He led multiple business IT projects like MES, WMS, PLM, LMS, and integration of all with ERP. An expert in solution design, risk identification, and mitigation, Mr. Yadav has claimed various CI awards, including World CIO 200 Award by GEC Media, Top 10 Technology Leaders by Quantic Business Media, and Future CIO of India 2023 by IT Next. Please also welcome once more Mr. Rakesh Maheshwari, former Senior Director, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Meity, Government of India. Mr. Maheshwari retired as Senior Director and Group Coordinator, Cyber Law and Data Governance. He was Group Coordinator, GC Cyber Law, GC Cybersecurity, GC for UI/DAI. He has been instrumental in the development of the IT Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021. With more than 1,000 man-days of training and auditing experience, he has been a guest faculty or panel speaker at several institutions and conferences, along with being on the advisory board of NICSI, India, and many project review committees of Meity. Please also welcome Manmeet, Randhawa, Head Corporate Communications and Strategic Alliances, India Future Foundation. With experience in corporate communications, strategic alliances, brand management and identity creation, Ms. Randhawa is a certified investment planning specialist and risk and estate planning specialist from Financial Standards Planning Board, USA. She has driven projects with Meta and LEAs for digital literacy awareness programs to ensure a safer digital ecosystem for all. Featured on the cover of Women Entrepreneurs magazine July 22 edition among the top women chief strategy officers, she has successfully managed Cyber Raksha Kavach in collaboration with Microsoft and CII. To join us on stage, I would like to also invite Mr. Durgesh Gurnani, Senior Manager, Cognizant. Mr. Gurnani leads conversational AI and generative AI initiatives to modernize contact centers and enhance customer engagement for banking and telco clients. A seasoned professional with 15 years of industry experience, he has a proven track record of driving innovation, building vision, and achieving adoption of emerging technologies like digital humans, voice AI, and omni-channel chatbots. chatbots, sorry. Mr. Gurnani is passionate about humanizing CX using technologies and shaping the future of engagement. And I think Manmeet will moderate this discussion. So over to you, ma'am. Loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I thank you all for coming and joining us for this round of panel discussion. Since we've been talking about AI at the rate automotive since morning, and we've been talking about different sorts of innovations that are required for retail experience, from from driving experience to everything, I think it's time we also talk about the cybersecurity element of software and how to keep ourselves secure, right? I'm sure all of you are aware that cybersecurity has become one of the most important things in technology these days, considering we have an increase in cyber threats. There are a lot of AI-generated malware which are coming into play. So I would start with my first question to Mr. Ramsunder, that how can organizations establish clear guidelines for AI development and how we can mitigate potential security risks?
Okay, thank you. Good evening all, and thank you very much for having me here. It's been a pleasure to be here with you all. So let me start just digressing a little bit from your question. The reason today this has become very, very important, AI in cyber is becoming more and more important. And some of the reasons for this is obviously the growth in devices. Organizations are exploding, growing boundaryless. I mean, they're just growing exponentially, which means the number of endpoints are increasing and your attack surface is increasing. Added to that, we've got IoT coming into the realm of cybersecurity. Not to forget, we've been discussing from morning, cars becoming smarter with chips coming in. So that's another attack surface, which actually is increasing the risk of organizations being breached. So if we actually look at some of the published figures, AI in cyber is growing by almost 23.8% year on year. That's the fastest growing sector that we've seen. And one of the reasons, so if we really look at it, it's actually growing from 8.8 billion in 2019 to 38.2 billion in 2026. That's the rate at which this is growing. Now, coming to your question, which is more about adoption of cyber. Now, see, there are a couple of, AI cannot stay away because of the influx of data that is going to come. There is humongous amount of data that is going to come into the organization. Now, it is practically impossible for humans to analyze that data in real time, make sense out of it. And that is where AI becomes a very, very important part and parcel of an adoption process. Now, where can it be used? It can be actually effectively used in reducing your threats, analyzing your threat in real-time basis, and also remediation or giving intelligence to remediate. What does AI you've got to deploy AI in such a way that it can actually capture data of all your endpoints, it can capture data of your networks, it can capture data of your cloud infrastructure, and so it's a complete infrastructure knowledge that it is gaining, and then it is able to provide that intelligence to the system. So it actually combines machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing in order to ensure that it is actually able to protect real time. Applications are used by the endpoints. Which are the applications used? How are they used? Who are the users of these applications? Now that would actually help organizations spend their dollar more wisely. As a CISO, the CISO has the biggest challenge of ensuring that he spends his budget wisely, yet protecting the organization. Now for the CISO, it is very important he knows where to spend his next dollar. And this gives him vital information of what are his weak spots within that network with specific instances to that particular malware. If there is a malware, he needs to know which part of the organization is vulnerable or whether his organization is vulnerable or not. So does he have to take action? That's what AI really gives information about. It helps automate a lot of process in terms of reducing the risk of a breach because of this. It helps you in compliance, data protection. Mr. Maheshwari spoke about data protection. It helps in increasing organizations being more compliant proactively towards this. So the first and foremost important parameter while adopting AI in any enterprise or a government organization is skill sets. Unfortunately today, I think that's a challenge that most of us are facing in the Indian scenario. I think Mr. Maheshwari will also be able to quantify this. Having the right knowledge, getting security solutions is damn good, but able to leverage the security solutions in order to ensure that you're able to get these benefits, that's where the human intervention comes into play. And you really need people who've got the depth of knowledge of security combined with AI in order to adopt those security solutions or deploy these solutions in such a way it leverages the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure, to benefit the organization. So skills play a very, very important role in deploying that. The second, is understanding the applications, which I already spoke about, and understanding the entire network ecosystem is another key point to be considered while deploying AI or security solutions, so that you get maximum intelligence out of it and proactively become far more secure. The third and foremost, which most organizations forget, is perhaps the most basic things, is training.
So just talking about the human element and the education part of it, I would like to ask Vikas a question. That is, what do you think is the role of education and training in promoting responsible AI and cybersecurity practices among employees and users, considering we need human element for training and awareness for responsible AI and cybersecurity?
Yeah, thanks, Manmeet. Thanks everybody for inviting me. So regarding the AI, so we have seen that AI is slowly coming into each and every activity of us. Currently, it is in all the activities. Maybe you have seen that completely your internet is filled with AI, your TVs, your cars, maybe your scooters, right? Each and everything, the AI is keep on moving. So now what is the difference between AI and an ethical AI, and how our social awareness, education, all this will bring this AI ethically correct. So I just give you a scenario. Maybe if you will type on Google, let's say maybe each one of us, you can try. You just type a word on the Google, beautiful faces. Everybody maybe. You can try on the Google, beautiful faces, and can anybody tell me what kind of faces he's seeing on the Google, on the images? Mostly the color would be like, it would be white, or it would be similar to whitish, but we won't find black. Now, this is how we are going to aware the AI, educating the AI, and we have to be socially agnostic with gender biasing, totally agnostic with kind of racial discrimination. All these things the AI should come in. Who is teaching the AI? Basically, we human is teaching the AI. Somebody spoke about that human should not be missed. I don't remember that person, but it is really very correct. So we have to be very responsible in teaching this AI and whatever application we are putting this AI into it. And as well as should be ethically correct. I hope so I have answered the question, right?
So we do need the human element in it to
Right.
actually understand whether or not we have the correct measures, we have the correct, understanding of what needs to be highlighted and what doesn't need to be highlighted. We have very set practices, like you spoke about the fair skin part of it, that, we have been trained or we have been, engineered in a way where we think that fair skin or the whiter skin is going to, automatically relate to a beautiful face. Whereas everybody is beautiful in their own way. And if these kind of things are taught to AI, then automatically what we see on screen, just by his example, I'm going by the example, things can actually make a difference. So, Rakesh,
Just,
sir.
I'll interrupt one. My kid asked me, Papa, is black is not beautiful? So we have heard in the older time black is a beauty, but the Google doesn't say like that. So how we are teaching Google? Who is teaching? That's the question.
So, sir, getting back to the actual topic wherein we are talking about securing AI models, I would like to ask Rakesh Maheshwari ji that from training to development, right, how should we implement robust cybersecurity measures at each stage, from data collection and model training to deployment and towards monitoring as well?
Yeah, thank you. So first, I'll just like to mention, while the artificial intelligence and use of huge amount of data that is available today, and using the artificial intelligence techniques, a lot has been done and can be done in terms of productivity improvement and other transformational changes that have been brought and can be brought. But simultaneously, I'll just also like to take an example of, while the things can be good, maybe if you don't use it properly, the way things can go wrong. A very simple example which was there in public domain, and that's why I am quoting it. May not be fully relevant, but otherwise very relevant, with the kind of audience from the automobile sector. When a person purchased a particular brand of a scooter and somehow met an accident. It was a connected scooter, and this person complained on the Twitter that courtesy the manufacturing defect in the scooter that I met with the accident. Now see the power of data collection. Unfortunately, the company reacted immediately on Twitter itself, communicating that it is not because of the problems in the scooter, but because of your driving habits not being good that you met with an accident. And this is the data that time and again you have been driving from maybe 0 speed to 80 kilometers in 10 seconds, that your braking practice is so bad. This is how in the past your braking habits had been, and maybe all sorts of data to prove that it is not the fault of the scooter, but the fault of the driving, the owner of the person who is driving the scooter and his or her habits, which has led to the problem. Now this is one case where, for example, you know too much about the person, and in fact, going by the present act, the DPDP Act, where it is not about he, it is about her. So about her behavior of how she drives the scooter. Now, if Of course, I mean, there were a lot of accusations on either side in this particular case, which particularly conveyed that good that you knew about the driving practices, but was it really essential to make it public? And does it not breach the privacy of the person concerned? But if I take this example as an example of what kind of data is being collected by the organizations, and what can therefore be the potential for them to know as to how Indian roads are, how Indian drivers are, or the automobile owners are, which they are when they are driving, what kind of speeds are being picked up and whether they are crossing the limits or not, and of course what component goes wrong, when it goes wrong, all sorts of data is possible. So that's the power of AI. That's the power of data and of course the analytics, which can thereafter help in making the products, in making the services better. But simultaneously, because it has the potential to breach into the privacy, or maybe if the logics are made wrong, or if there is a bias, as was mentioned by Vikas ji, then things can also go wrong. And that's where it is important that the issue of, and that's where the issue of ethical AI is coming into picture. The security and privacy is coming into picture. And it's a global phenomena, particularly in the cyber world. Anything and everything which happens in India, of course, must be happening elsewhere in the world also. And because of the very nature of the cyber being borderless, maybe issues have to be seen from a cross-boundary perspective. And it's not just about the developers. Please also understand that there can be hackers who may be infecting the software, thereby causing the kind of damage which probably nobody would have, or nobody would have imagined, at least in the past, that your car, your whichever automobile is, completely goes out of your control. So while technology has been able to improve and has potential to improve lots of things, the whole idea is that maybe the use cases, the policy has to be devised in such a manner that it has to be used in a secure manner, it has to be used in a privacy protecting manner, and there is a role for the developer, there is a role for the user, and there is an expectation from the government so as to have the right ecosystem in place, a safe, transparent system in place for betterment as well as for better security and privacy. Thank you.
I'd just like to add on to what Mr. Maheshwari said. So when we talk about huge amounts of data coming in, as he rightly said, and there is the data coming in, which could also lead to a lot of false positives, because AI depends on historical data, all the data that has gone in, and there are some amount of data that, and ultimately if you see a new type of a malware which the system has not seen earlier, it could lead to false positives. So training or a trained manpower becomes very, very important in order to be better than AI. You can't allow AI to get the better out of an individual or the system. And that is why knowledge is very, very important. The other part which I wanted to just touch upon briefly about the training aspect. There is a lot of lacuna within organizations, not as IT professionals. And it's a real life instance. You've had people depending on what is ChatGPT? Is AI? And it is a car company. A car company had brought in a few interns and they were launching into a new market. They had asked these interns to devise a strategic plan to get into this market. So these internals, thinking they're pretty cool and all, they went, put this information on ChatGPT and got the presentation ready. But the nuance of this has become viral. The company's plan of getting into a particular segment became known to competition. So the lesson is that we've got to train our own people in order to use AI tools more effectively, maintaining confidentiality of organizations. And also for product companies like ourselves, the developers also cannot be expecting ChatGPT to drive or write lines of code to make their life simpler. Because this is now accessible to the hacker. So these are a couple of points that I just wanted to make.
Thank you, sir. So, talking about fair and square, like Rakesh Maheshwari ji said, and Ramsunder sir also said the same thing. I want to redirect this question to Naresh Yadav. And I want to ask you that how can organizations ensure that AI systems are fair and square?
Hi, good evening, everyone. And thank you for having me here. So, when we say the fair and the secure, so how the output generated by the AI or the ethical AI model can be fairness, or how it will be treated as a fair, it has to be a trustworthy. I mean, the organization has to ensure that the AI model, whatever we have developed or deployed, is giving us the trustworthy results. The people are believing it. Also, it is unbiased. And also, it is protective the sensitive information, the data. Okay. Now, how we can do that? We have to ensure that, like, the data, it has to be diversified data on which we are training the AI model, so that it doesn't give you unbiased information. There are limitations, but we have to choose the diversified data, all the demographic data. And when we have a diversified data, also the data pre-processing. We have to ensure that when we are pre-processing the data or we are training the AI model, we have to ensure that, or we have to take some kind of precautionary measure that we are not actually leaking or we are not actually exposing the private sensitivity information to the AI model. Now, also on the fair, like when we develop the AI model, we also need to ensure that we are choosing an algorithm or the model which are actually fairly or the securely based on the fair and the secure algorithm. If, like, for example, if we implement or deploy any model on the AI, ethical AI, we also have to have a readdressal mechanism, the feedback mechanism, and also it is very important that for every step of the implementation, let's say designing it, deploying it, the testing, or the development. So at every stage of the stage of the implementation, we should ensure that we are doing the security assessment properly, so that we ensure that the AI model which is coming out is actually fair and secure. Most important, the change management. Like, for example, if we are doing any change, we have to ensure that we are keeping all the documents so that we can actually go back and check, and it is actually the change, whatever we are going through, it is all going through the process and policy, whatever we have placed in the organization.
Thank you, sir. Durgesh, you have been an expert in innovation and product. So my next question to you is that, we've been trying to do a balancing act, wherein we are trying to balance innovation with constraints to ensure that everything is ethical. So where should the line be drawn? And how do we ensure that, innovation and constraints and ethical responsible AI, including, cybersecurity element of it, is taken care of?
Sure. So I think every use case has two sides to it. It has a threat and an opportunity. If the opportunity is huge, then you have to try and find ways, how do you eliminate or mitigate that threat? So I work at Cognizant in the IVR and the contact center space. And in IVR today, from couple of decades, you call today 5 companies IVR, they all sound the same. Because it's the exact same technology that they all use, and hence the experience is exactly the same. But let's say we want to use AI, generative AI, to change all of this from an innovation side first. Let's say if you call Hyundai Motors, Shah Rukh Khan is a brand ambassador for Hyundai Motors, and Shah Rukh Khan helps the company to acquire new customers. But once the customer is acquired, then the customer service part today is taken care by a machine or a call center agent sitting in a remote call center. Let's say we were to change it. Let's say an end caller is looking for a service. He calls an IVR and he hears Shah Rukh Khan's voice cloned with consent of Shah Rukh Khan, so that the caller calls in, he feels as if he's talking to the brand ambassador of a company. Or let's say he gets on a video call. He's not greeted by a call center agent sitting in a remote area. He's actually greeted by a digitally cloned avatar of Shah Rukh Khan with consent. Same might be the case that may apply for Tesla Motors as well, where callers get greeted by Elon Musk. Imagine the innovation side of it. Imagine the emotional connection that a customer can build with the brand just if we end up giving a face to a chatbot, or a personality to a chatbot, or a gesture or a hand movement to a chatbot. It's the value proposition is 100 times than what it is right now. If you were to translate all of this on a phone call versus face-to-face, we understand that there's a difference. Similarly, if you are calling an IVR, talking on a phone, or seeing Shah Rukh Khan's digital avatar talking to you, responding to you, of course, the value proposition is huge, which means on the innovation side, there's a lot that can be done. Until 6 months ago, to clone Shah Rukh Khan, as an example, it was subjective to specialized companies that had the capability to do so. As of today, using generative AI, it takes 10 minutes to convert any image of any human being, living or dead, Shah Rukh Khan or Elon Musk or myself, whoever it is, doesn't really matter. It takes 10 minutes to convert an image as an input, give that image to a generative AI model, get a digital avatar out of it in a matter of 10 minutes, and connect this digital avatar to an existing chatbot that runs your web chat or an IVR. It's completely possible. At Cognizant, any of our clients that visit our office and our innovation lab, we actually create a clone of the person visiting and try and ask him, do you think this is looking real or do you think it is looking fake? If it is looking real is the answer, then we continue the conversation for 15 more minutes. Otherwise, we just stop it then and there. So coming to the question, the innovation side is huge. And you would not want to compromise on the value proposition that it brings in. So how do you take care of the risk that comes along with it by someone misusing a cloned version of Shah Rukh Khan without his consent? And that's where, I guess, a lot of researchers, the industry, and the policymakers have to come together and actually ensure that every organization uses AI very, very responsibly. By very responsibly, I mean whichever company we all represent doesn't really matter. All our companies will have 3, 4, 5 set of values, which we say this is what our culture is. Right? We want to recruit people based on our cultural values. We want to appraise people based on our cultural values, promote people based on our cultural values. What if we were to change for AI-based projects, we create new set of responsible AI models with privacy as one of the value, security as one of the value. Let's say user being at the center while you design the AI system as one more value. Transparently telling the user that this is not real Shah Rukh Khan, this is a cloned version of Shah Rukh Khan. Letting the user know as your transparency value of responsible AI framework and things like that. So point is, like we have the cultural values in organization, I think couple of months down the line, I expect that a lot of organizations would start talking about values around AI-based projects that they build for the industry. And that is the line that every organization will have to create for themselves just to ensure that they keep a balance between innovation and the risk. And I think that's my viewpoint.
So talking about the organization's culture, I would ask Vikas to help me understand that how does an organization's culture and its readiness for change influence its perception of AI as a source of concern, considering AI adoption is one of the major concerns, right? And what are the effective change management strategies that one should take on to address AI-related concerns?
Yeah, Manmeet. Can you repeat the question again?
So it is more to do with how will you change the organization's culture, right, to ensure that there is no apprehension in adoption of AI.
Okay. So first we have to understand the culture. So normally in company the culture is derived through the humans. So how many basically it is on the human itself. The human have to build the culture. But now what happened to the advent of AI, lot many things have been injected, and it gives maybe one of the person was speaking about, I think you were speaking about false positive. So these information, they create lot of changes in the structure. But currently it is not so much, but in future, due to a very thin line of gap between ethical and unethical, things may change if there is no proper regulation. I can give you some hints, maybe some example in my own company. So we implemented AI, like Gurnani was speaking, in our IVR department. So there is a customer care department, there is a toll-free number, which is basically valid all over the India. And when a person calls on that phone, it says, एक है इंग्लिश में बोलना है तो एक दबाओ, पंजाबी में बोलना है तो दो दबाओ, and around there are around 5-6 numbers because they are different languages. And our farmer doesn't understand so much. So they are very much confused, एक दबाऊं, दो दबाऊं, and the things become difficult. So what happened, we implemented AI, and when a person calls at that number, the system calculates the demographic information that comes from the geospatial data which Google is providing, and we are able to know the location. Maybe the person doesn't want that language, but he or she, maybe the system AI will be speaking about, and it will change its responses. And what happened? Very good thing, that the number is saved permanently, and that information goes into the data bank, and the whatever responses he has already put on, those responses will be saved in the system, and next time the person calls again, those issues will not be repeated. So these are the things. Now coming on the cultural aspect, when there is a very thin line difference, how people will develop the culture. So we have implemented our HR system. In HR system we have vibes. The people communicate themselves, they greet happy birthday. So one time what happened, I did good wishes to one of my colleagues, and I was one of the first person. I did it at around 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and he was feeling very happy, and he responded, "You are the first person who congratulated me," and I felt very proud. Next day, next time, after 1 year, the AI sent a message to me that you got a very good response. So tomorrow is your best friend's birthday. Do wish him. So that is the kind of cultural changes the system can bring in. This is just one example, but there are many more examples. I think we will come to know as soon as we grow in this AI fraternity. As well as another point of culture is we are using ChatGPT too much. We are sending emails. We feel that whatever we want to send an email, we type those things into the ChatGPT and it provides very kind of very structured email, and we just copy and paste that email into the body and shoot to the sender. So those things, they are very unbiased, because what happened, the email speaks about your character, how you write, how you express your emotions. So you have to be very much aware that this way, how we are providing our ethics into our relationship, that also get impacted. So we have to be very sure how we are using ChatGPT and other generative applications which are run through AI. This is all I want to express, and maybe we will have more discussion on it once other speaker will be taking chance.
So Ramsunder sir, that you are basically the top of the pyramid for your organization. So to what extent does shortage of AI talent and expertise contribute to organizations' apprehensions about implementing AI solutions and also catering to cybersecurity solutions and mitigating threats?
The question.
To what extent does shortage of AI talent and expertise among employees contribute to organizations' apprehensions about implementing AI solutions and cybersecurity solutions as well?
So actually, we are a software development company or a software solution provider in terms of products and services. There's absolutely, at any point in time, we definitely have a dearth of talent. And I'll have to like to take it back and explain it from the context of NDR that we actually develop. Now, when we talk of NDR, which is a network-based security solution, it is meant to give you intelligence about your network, both your north, south, east, west traffic, by looking at all the packets in it. So it does a behavioral analysis. It is supposed to give you rule-based alerts. It is also supposed to take signatures and also alert, which is a little bit of machine learning. But the bigger this thing is anomaly detection and behavioral detection, which is absolutely an unknown character when we talk of NDR, because we've got to detect a behavior as it happens and bring out an anomaly. It's not just bringing out an anomaly, but it is also bringing out a malicious anomaly, which can be malicious to your organization. It links back to what I spoke earlier. So what is limiting us is obviously the faster, the better we get resources, the more we are able to get ideal resources, the faster will be our learning curve and our ability to deploy more, bring innovation into this. AI today, as I said, it's a hugely growing field. And using it ethically, we require a lot of skills. And there is definitely a dearth of skills, both in India and US also. And we are really looking at that. So that's pretty much, it is still, we do have talent, but we still struggle to get the right talent so that we can keep pace with the industry. I guess I can go on, but I think we should others to speak.
Thank you, sir. Naresh, sir, I have a question for you. That how do you think we can determine accountability in cases of breaches or security lapses related to AI?
So, see, I mean, we all must agree that AI is a great innovation. But of course, with a great innovation, there will be some new challenges. And of course, cybersecurity is one of the major challenges. Why it is more on the AI, like sir said, it has been increased 23%. Because the model has actually not matured. The algorithm, the way we train the AI, the data, what we are exposing to the AI, it's not in the maturity stage currently. Okay. Now, on the all the cyber threats, like there can be a attack, cyber attack, there can be the stealing of the data, there can be even your the model stealing. So we, like all the security measures, like what we take for other application, we may have to take some extra precautions to have the cyber security framework in place for the AI models. But again, like for the stealing, I mean, we should ensure that we are not exposing ourselves or our models so much. We are not passing the sensitive information so much. With the DPDP Act now, it is very important to become, it has become very important that we save or we protect our private data, sensitive data. So this is also, there are the insider threats. Again, it is also applicable on the AI models. So we also have to ensure that all the solutions, whatever we deploy, should protect our AI model applications. Also, we should have at every stage, like I said, for the security assessment, like in for all the models, like be it implemented in the IoT or OT network, we should have all the security, we should have the best security practices in place. We should have the best security framework with also the regulatory and ethical compliance requirement also. So this is something we have to put most of the effort on the cyber security. But yes, the innovation is not going to stop. There will be some challenges like cyber security, and we'll have to take all possible measures to protect it.
Thank you, sir. Rakesh, sir, you have been an expert in cyber laws. So my next question to you is that what legal and regulatory frameworks exist or are needed to hold organizations accountable for ethical AI and cybersecurity practices?
So directly, with respect to how technology should be governed, maybe there is no direct answer as of today in the existing Information Technology Act. However, there are certain due diligence which have been created by the IT Rules 2021, which have been amended in 2022 as well as 23. And these rules do require that, particularly if the content goes wrong, the content, because the AI has the potential, I mean, anybody can put any wrong content, but AI can create wrong content, and hence it can be a huge problem, maybe because of impersonation, maybe because of illegal contents, maybe because of otherwise harmful contents becoming available on internet. Deepfakes, for example, is a big problem, and particularly in the ensuing elections, and you will find, and it's quite likely that such kind of issues may have a significant impact on the electoral democracy itself. So from the rules perspective, the rules categorically require that certain harmful content, unlawful content, impersonation, child sexual abuse, any kind of sexual abuse which is otherwise illegal, such contents should ideally be detected by the platforms of their own, remove. And for some reason, if they are not able to remove, they have to have a grievance officer who has to act, and this is true with respect to DPDP Act also. The grievance officer in the DPDP Act also been conveyed. So where the action is expected to be taken by the company within 24 hours, within 72 hours, within 15 days, depending upon maybe the kind of risk or kind of threats which it is. And in case, as a user, I am not happy with the response as made by the company, then the amendments in 2022 also brought in a concept of grievance redressal committee, grievance appellate committee, gac.gov.in, which is now also operational from 1st of March 2023. So any person which is not happy, particularly with respect to, say, social media platforms, with respect to any online intermediaries, they can approach the gac.gov.in, which works in an online mode and, of course, free of cost, should be able to redress such grievances. There are other, I'll say, measures which have been taken in the IT rules. They are there in the IT Act, and a similar attempt has also been made in the DPDP Act, wherein particularly those which are non-compliant and continue to remain non-compliant over a period of time, the law also provides a provision to block their services. So denial of access, because government's role normally doesn't come when things are going smooth. It's only when things go on the other side that the government has to pitch in, and the law, particularly the DPDP Act, with respect to the privacy, with respect to the personal data, and with respect to non-compliance relating to personal data, has a potential to block the apps. But in the IT Act, there is a potential to block certain information which are considered unlawful. Of course, it's expected that the companies themselves will be removing it, either of their own or for which AI can be used. So,
Thank you, sir, so much. I'm sure this has been a very informative session for all of you to attend. If we have any questions from the audience, please let us know.
Good evening, everyone. So my question is for Mr. Rakesh, sir. Sir, this is a very basic question related to the data, I would say. So we all get the marketing, calls, SMS, emails about the bank account, loan accounts, where we haven't applied for. So basically, we know about, we heard about this issue that our data has been sold to different companies. That's why we are getting these calls and SMS and emails. So what as a citizen I can do to prevent these things, and what Indian government is doing, for example, to avoid such issues of these data selling? So
yeah, so I do believe the Act is very new. It has just been passed on August 2023. And the Act is going to become operational over a period of time. Data Protection Board is going to be set up. Citizens' rights have already been, privacy has already been declared as a fundamental right. Citizens' rights have already been conveyed in the Act. And one of the citizens' rights is to be, in fact, given an informed choice of what personal data that she may like to share it with the company. The company also has the responsibility to convey as to why it is being taken, what exactly will be done, with whom it will be shared, and how long it will be stored. So I do believe over a period of time, it doesn't happen overnight, but over a period of time, whether it is for the future or with respect to the past, your personal data, the consents will have to be taken again in the language of your choice. And I do believe, if things go well, because unfortunately on enforcement perspective, normally we don't go so well, but I do believe, if on the enforcement perspective, if we go well, such kind of calls should drastically reduce. Unless, of course, you prefer to have those calls.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And others also. What you spoke on conversational AI and generative AI, it is being long talked, and it is also being in present talk also, that this is leading to something like a manipulative AI, where we are doing a personalized, targeted persuasion. So in this coming times, how we should be keeping our ethics and controls around it? Can you comment on it?
So you spoke about conversational AI, and you spoke about ethics as well in the same question, which is interesting, which means you understand the value proposition of conversational AI, but are worried about the ethics and the misuse of newer generative AI specific and technologies alike. Let's talk about conversational AI first on one side. When two people greet each other for 5 times in 5 days, the greetings are always different. You cannot just meet someone and say, hi, good morning, how are you? 5 times in 5 days if you're meeting the same person. When you call an IVR or a conversational AI system 5 times in 5 days, you get the exact same greeting message from the IVR, which makes you realize you are actually, it's actually a human to machine interaction, because you know before the IVR speaks to you, you know what the IVR is about to speak to you, because you have called the IVR 4 times in past, and this is your 5th time. Which means that that experience that we give today to the caller needs a change. How can we change that? We can use generative AI to change it. You give same input to generative AI 5 times, it will give different output. Why do we have static prompts in conversational AI? Why not dynamic prompts? Every single time a caller comes in and a greeting is required, you pass on a greeting prompt to generative AI and say, whoever comes into my banking IVR, greet him. The greeting should be around 2 sentences. Do not give any other options, press 1, press 2, or whatever. Just keep it very open-ended and greet him in 2 sentences and things like that, right? So if you connect and build your system in such a manner, now you call every single time, 5 times in 5 days, you will still be greeted, but you will be greeted very differently in every single call, right? And I've just spoke about greeting. Apply this to your entire conversational IVR across your entire flow. You will understand the value proposition is huge, which means that it's such a huge value proposition that you cannot ignore. Companies cannot ignore. Right now, it's very new, and people are still trying to learn different use cases and things like that. Give it like 1 year. I don't think there would be an organization that would say we do not implement any use case of generative AI because we do not see a value, right? So point is, value proposition is huge. How do you control the ethics and all that stuff is something that industry will have to evolve, will have to set new frameworks. Google today has a chief ethics AI officer. Salesforce, now Times Magazine just launched top 100 AI influencers in the world. One of those top people is Salesforce AI ethics person in a leadership position that is responsible to set up a framework that they do not send the customer data to OpenAI and to train the model and things like that, right? So point really is, it's a framework of responsible AI, ethical AI that needs to be established. It will take 5-6 months, but as I said earlier in my answer that was asked to me, it will be built around 5 or 6 or 7 core values. As of now, Microsoft has been able to do it. Google has been able to do it. So if you will go and do a YouTube around it, you will get to understand that their values, the company values are very different than their AI project specific values. But the rest of the industry will kind of follow. The policymakers will come on board. The researchers will also play a very important role. There are a lot of PhD papers being written in this space. A lot of these things will get combined, and industry will evolve in terms of how to make use of that innovation in the conversational AI space by building a framework around responsible AI and ethics. That's my thought.
Gurnani, what I basically said, and it is being talked, and it is being in talks present time also. We have mentioned a word consent. The consent is a word which is not merely understood in its terminology by a common layman. So what I spoke about is a manipulative AI, and where I spoke about it is personalized, targeted persuasion. Now, we need to search out a word, a term, not a framework, which goes beyond a consent in adding a prefix or suffix to the consent in realms where we should be talking of appropriate controls which should augment on ethics. And I don't think anyone is really onto it. Maybe Google or Microsoft, they have perfected it, because this is something which is still in a lot of draft standards and the best practices which are being discussed worldwide. So I need your comments from your expert panel. I need your comments if you have any.
Thank you, Dr. Madhav. I would request the panelists to interact during our networking tea break, right? Time is up, so we would have to conclude our panel discussion. I want to thank all our panelists to take out time today, being a weekend, and coming over and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you once more to all the panelists for sharing their thoughts here. This was a very interesting discussion. Now, to felicitate our panelists, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Ravi Rajendra, founder and CEO of Quick Meeting, and Avyukta Adlakhan from WAF, and also if there is someone from Share Drive, please. Miss Manmeet Randhawa. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vikas Yadav. Mr. Ramsunder Papineni. Mr. Naresh Yadav. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rakesh Maheshwari. Mr. Durgesh Gurnani. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please come and let's take a group photo, please. Come in front of the tables, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.